Udoka Njoku joins us this morning. Udoka, are you okay at the moment? Do you need some time off, or you want to? Udoka?
People, I am very okay. I lost my voice yesterday where it was screaming and celebrating Super Eagles win. But of course, I will get that time of operation job and come back to Lagos. But so far, so good. We are enjoying covering the Super Eagles and everything happening right here in Morocco.
All right, whatever stays in Marrakech remains in Marrakech. But let's go straight to business. Nigeria looked far more decisive. I mean, when you look at how they've been able to break out from the beginning of Eric Chelle and now to the win against Algeria. Let me ask you, Udoka Njoku, what stood out for you? You were at the stadium yesterday when Nigeria won that game against a packed stadium filled with Algerian fans. What was it like? I mean, with the atmosphere, and what do you think, spurred Nigeria to victory?
Make me to be spiritual today. It is Sunday. I'd say what happened yesterday just shows you that with God, all things are possible. Even if you're in the midst of chaos and you listen to that voice, you would succeed. Yes, call me Pastor Udoka right now. But yesterday, I was asking every of my journalist colleagues, I was like, how are we going to survive this? It happened against Tunisia. It wasn't as bad as what we saw yesterday against Algeria. It happened against Tunisia in Fez. The same was packed full, and we came through 3-2.
All right, let me come to China, Achiru. China, so many were talking about not being optimistic about Eric Chelle. In fact, there was a popular phrase on some WhatsApp group, go to Fez early, meaning that maybe we might not even get to this point. But Nigeria have been able to go past, teams like Tunisia, Algeria, to the semifinals, particularly yesterday's game. China, can you say, or would you say that this is one of our best performances ever? I know you've watched in 1994 and before then, but what kind of Eagles do we have at the moment with what you saw yesterday?
One of our best performances ever. I think that's a long shot. Listen, Eric Chelle has done well, has taken us to the semi-final. But you need to understand that where he is now, let's not get me wrong. I mean, I like what I've done with the team. Considering what it was like 2 months ago, where a lot of us wanted him out and thought it was not good enough. He has done well with the team. But we need to understand that in Nigeria's history at the AFCON, it's only on 3 occasions we did not get to the semi-final. 3 occasions. 1982, the worst title defense ever. 2008, under Betty Vokes, where we were knocked out in the quarterfinals, and under Iguavon a few years back, where Tunisia knocked us out in the, I think that was round of 16. So every other time we went to the AFCON, we go to either the semi-final or the final. So you see what he has done now, he has removed himself from the group of coaches we call failure at the AFCON to a group of coaches where we say, this is where we should be. So his next step now is to be among 3 other coaches that have taken us to the final. Or no, more than 3 have taken us to the final. That's where he wants to take himself to if he wins against Morocco.
Okay.
So, I mean, the question now is that what went right for him? Some will say 3 weeks training with the team that he didn't get in the World Cup qualifiers, and that's fair. So we talk about both he and the players determining in their hearts that having failed Nigeria, not going to the World Cup, they must put their best foot forward, maybe. So a lot of things can be deduced. Okay, whether I like it or not,
China,
if you are criticized for failure, you should be praised for success. And now you're succeeding.
Victor Osimhen, I mean, we saw how he was able to, lead after that incident that happened against Mozambique. I mean, this time around, at every miss or every mischance, we see Osimhen clap for his teammates, tell them, well done, he could be better, and eventually he got his goal. Do you think that, we can have these moments where Osimhen would, be what we expect in terms of leadership? Compared to what we have, do you think that played a major role in his game in the last?
It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. The truth be said, Osimhen might have a temper. He might have to work on his temper in future. You understand? But that is him. I have a lot of colleagues that I've had in the past and even now that I work with, and when they are on the job, they are animals. And then after the match is over, the program is over, they are all calm again. Like, I don't like what I did to you. I'm sorry for what I did. And I think what Osimhen's attitude in that game yesterday was, 1, I'm sorry for that I've done, guys. He gets feedbacks. People have called him on the phone. And I told him, guy, You shouldn't have done that. And I think that was his way of saying to all of us, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. But like he said in his interview, you heard him say, he said, listen, I want to do my best for the team. I don't care how I go about it.
And he doesn't care about any record.
Yeah, he doesn't care about any record. But the truth is,
that's what he said.
That's what he said.
Yeah, but everybody will care about the record. He's just been humble there.
That obviously plays at the back of his mind. But it's not the priority now. That obviously plays at the back of his mind. The priority is getting to the final. I mean, one step at a time. But, I mean, he plays with the fire in his belly.
Yeah.
That's the way he plays. I mean, remind me one of the greatest ever footballer I've ever seen play football, Wayne Rooney. Plays on the edge. That's how he plays.
Eric Cantona, Wayne Rooney, Maradona.
They go overboard.
Oh, yes.
And when you go overboard, it's left for those that can talk to you to call you and correct you and say, look, I understand, but you've gone overboard.
You know, sir, when we're younger, people outside, your neighbors will tell you, you are the one that your father and mother beats the most all the time. The truth is, they are the one they love the most. So when they do this, when they bring this attitude, it's the love for the game, the passion to win. All right. They want to just win.
All right, let me go to Udoka Njoku. Udoka, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they've done the first job, which is to get to the semi-finals of the competition. Wilfred Ndidi will be missing in action, on Wednesday. Have there been questions to the coach, what he plans to do in the absence of Wilfred Ndidi? And give us update of the team. Are they still in Marrakech? Are they moving away from Marrakech? What should we know about the team at the moment after the win against Algeria?
For Wilfred Ndidi, it was an unnecessary yellow card that he received yesterday in that game against Algeria, because when he was injured, of course, he had a hamstring injury, but no updates from the camp yet how long that injury will serve for. But when he walked past the mix zone, he was walking normally. There was nothing around his knee or lap area to show that he had a major scare in that game. But of course, when they brought in the medicals to check on him, he decided to walk off the pitch on his own, and then the referee deemed it fit to give him a yellow card for time wasting. It was an unnecessary yellow card. Now pressure will be on Onyedika to perform in his absence, because he's the next man after Wilfred Ndidi to man that position. But we believe in Onyedika in a couple of games that he was featured, and I'm sure he has what it takes to lead the Super Eagles in the midfield alongside the likes of Onyeka and our star boy Alex Iwobi. But of course, no update. And for the team, they'll be leaving Marrakech for Fez. That is where they are based, according to CAF. That is where they are based. And up until Tuesday, that's when they will now travel they will travel on Monday to Rabat, where they will have their training session and, of course, a press conference on Tuesday ahead of the game.
All right, Udoka, and we also want to ask, have the players been paid? I mean, we heard talks of the money being in transit from Nigeria to their accounts in dollar. Have they received their bonuses in full?
Confirmed sources, we hear that the players have been paid. And of course, if they've not been paid, the kind of celebration we saw yesterday would not have happened. Favor. These players have been paid. All that issue about bonuses have been put aside. And of course, the players are moving on and getting ready for the next step, and that is the game against Morocco. Now, there's a narrative we actually spoke about Osimhen, his leadership qualities, and of course, for Eric Chelle. Now, there's a conversation that happened yesterday, which it wasn't pleasing for me. A lot of people were saying that Osimhen is who is saving Eric Chelle's job. And I'm wondering, there are certain teams that are built around certain players. If Eric Chelle decides to build his team around Victor Osimhen, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And this is Eric Chelle's 1 year in office, and you talk about him building the team. I think the way he has built his team around Victor Osimhen, it is vital, and it is very, very necessary. We've seen how important and how this happens to play out on the football pitch. They call Osimhen Ijaya. Whenever he's on the pitch, people are afraid of playing against him. We played against an Algerian side who have considered only 1 goal so far in the tournament. So it was more like the best attacking team against the best defensive team. And we came out tops. I think credit should be given to Eric Chelle and the boys.
All right, Udoka, don't worry, credit is already been given from the fans. For China, let's look at the next topic for discussion. After that game, the game was actually marred with a bit of pandemonium, violence. We saw players going at each other. Even the fans, at some point in time, went against themselves. After the game, they were going straight to the coach Issa's side. He talks about the referee not going to VAR for a penalty check. against Semi Ajayi. We also saw spirit of sportsman conduct by the Algerian players, feeling that they should have gotten something better, maybe from the officiating. And also in the mixed zone, we also saw videos of journalists going against themselves, particularly according to reports, journalists from Algeria going at the Moroccan journalists. Udoka will also come to that very soon. But China, can't we have a football in Africa where we can say the best team won? Let's just take it like that and go and work on ourselves.
It's sportsmanship. A lot of times players find it difficult to agree they lose a game, especially when there is something controversial, like the penalty call, which they probably felt should have been, but they didn't get. And then again, there's this deep-seated rivalry between Algeria and Morocco, hence that little altercation between the Moroccan and Algerian media. Maybe if Nigeria had lost, our players would have felt bad, but we wouldn't have reacted this way. So people react to loss and disappointment in different ways. I believe that CAF will have to say something about this eventually, because this is what is actually called bringing a game to disrepute. If you lose a game, there are ways to challenge your grievances, not doing what we saw on the screens yesterday. And of course, that's what happened at the tunnel between the Moroccan and Algerian media people. Total crying shame there. We shouldn't be seeing scenes like this at a major tournament like this. But again, like I said, CAF will have to come and say something about it. If you don't nip this thing to the bud, it might get worse, especially now we're going into more crucial stages of the tournament. Like I said earlier, there is about the rivalry between Algeria and Morocco, and there are lots of conspiracy theories flying around, which I don't want to talk about right now. Okay. And probably some of these theories is what may have led the Algerians to react that way. Also for the Algerian press to go against the Moroccan press, because really there are some crazy conspiracy theories going around on why some people felt Algeria should be the team qualifying for the semi-final and not Nigeria. Crazy stuff happening. But CAF should have to come out and say something about this.
All right, China, actually, well said. Let me come to Doka Njoku. Doka, you were at the mixed zone when this happened. Secondly, like China said, there's this beef between Morocco and Algeria. I remember one time in the CAF Champions League, there was a logo that the Algerian wanted to have in their jersey, one of the club side in Algeria. CAF said no. I think they gave them 3 goals and 3 points. They were eliminated. They didn't even progress to the next round of the CAF Club competition. What really happened in the mixed zone? Was it a case of Algeria saying, this is what you did to me, let me go back and do this? And some are even saying that Nigeria has saved the world of a crisis. Imagine Morocco playing Algeria in the semi-finals. All right, Udoka. Okay, while we try to connect with Udoka, let me come to the gentleman in the studio. China did talk about, the bad blood between Morocco and Algeria. It seems the North Africans, they have a way of going, they feel that CAF is nothing to them. That's what I think. When you look at what they do, they feel they can just pay for this punishment. When it comes, they continue again. We've seen over time the CAF Club competition whereby a North African team plays against maybe the West African teams, and you go away from home, you see these gimmicks, you see these antics of football. When they lose, they feel sad, they want to do a lot of things. But what happened yesterday was really, really bad for football in Africa. What do you think CAF can do to further, curtail events like this?
Like you actually said, it's quite embarrassing to see. The players, I understand, they are emotionally charged. But for the journalists that are doing that, we are supposed to lay examples, are we not? But I understand it's a matter of national pride. The Algerians and the Moroccans and even the Egyptians, the rivalry, Tunisians included, those 4 countries, the rivalry amongst them, it's up to this level. CAF has done fines, indeed in club competitions, sometimes some teams have been kicked out. But it's a national team, it's the AFCON. You can't kick a team that is already out. I think the highest you can do is fines. You can't ban them. You can't ban them after. It's fines. But how much you need to start upping these fines that it hurts them really well? Because if it's a slap on the wrist kind of fine, they know that okay, we can pay it. But when it's something that is really outrageous, the sum is outrageous, everybody
But let's be
has
honest
to be
with ourselves.
cautious.
I've always said it. I always play the devil's advocate when it comes to violence on the field of play. Everybody says, Wally, you are wrong. I don't condone violence. But it's unfortunate that when it comes to sports, not only football, sports generally, adrenaline flows.
Yeah.
Passion is always there. Emotions always fly high. It's normal. And I'm not condoning it, but I'm saying that it will always happen. For example, we have seen some sportsmen who say, I'm not going to fight a Russian because I'm Ukrainian. I'm not going to fight a Palestinian because I'm Israeli. It happens all the time. But when it comes to, like Taya said, it is most embarrassing when you realize that the people who should be the most balanced, journalists, are the ones that are fighting each other. If it was the players now, I'm cool with that. But journalists fighting journalists over a country issue, come on, guys.
All right.
Where's the balance?